Venezuela's officials hit with sanctions by the U.S. government. That's our top story in Caribbean Newsline for Thursday, August 10. From the CMC News Center in Bridgetown, I'm Nicole Best. Good evening. The creation of a powerful but controversial constituent assembly in Venezuela has resulted in freezes and travel bans being imposed on some senior officials. The United States government announced that it has imposed sanctions on 8 Venezuelan officials to punish them for helping President Nicolas Maduro create the new legislative superbody. The U.S. targeted individual politicians and security figures, but stopped short of placing broader financial or sectoral sanctions on the Spanish-speaking Caribbean country's vital oil industry. But U.S. officials say they are still considering action against the energy sector, which could deal yet another blow to the country's ailing economy. The new measures announced by the Treasury Department will freeze the Venezuelan officials' U.S. assets, ban them from travel to the U.S., and prohibit Americans from doing business with them. Washington slapped sanctions on Maduro himself last week, following similar action against 13 Venezuelan figures on July 26. The latest measures were intended to make good on the Trump administration's threats to sanction anyone who helped create or joined the new Constituent Assembly. The U.S. government accused all 8 of the Venezuelans they identified of participating in actions or policies that undermine democratic processes or institutions in their country. On Tuesday, the Constituent Assembly approved a decree that obliges other government bodies to recognize its wide-ranging powers and adhere to its decisions. The order also prohibits the opposition-held National Assembly and other government bodies from taking any action that would interfere with the Constituent Assembly's laws. Barbados' Prime Minister Frondell Stewart is sending a warning to criminals that government will not allow them to take over the country. His comment follows the shooting death of a 20-year-old man at the climax of the Crop Over Festival on Monday. The Prime Minister raised concern over the rising gun violence and called on every level of society to address the issue.
The battle is on for the very survival of Barbados as we have known it. We can't fight this battle if we are paralyzed by fear. We cannot win this battle if we believe that indifference is the best response to it. We don't want a society in which our young people are more familiar with the sound of gunfire than they are with the sound of an orchestra. We have to strengthen our policing, and of course our courts have to send very strong signals that as the guardians of the values of our society, they're not going to tolerate this kind of behavior.
Stewart says gun crime has worsened over the past 30 years, and he's adamant that the underworld justice system must be eliminated.
Mainstream justice system beset by complaints about delays, about adjournments, about the amount of time it takes to get decisions, and that kind of thing. And there is the underworld justice system in which there is no scope for delay. There is no scope for adjournment of any kind. Once guilt is established, justice is swiftly and ruthlessly dispensed. And the question that we will ultimately have to ask ourselves is whether we can continue to have 2 justice systems running in our society. I think most Barbadians still believe that our mainstream justice system is to be preferred, even though they think that it needs to be markedly improved and needs to be more responsive to their needs.
Meanwhile, opposition leader Mia Mottley has called on Prime Minister Stewart to announce a concrete plan to address the upsurge in gun crime. Over in Jamaica, while government and opposition are condemning the murder of a 17-year-old girl, residents in her community are angry over the reason being given for the killing. Reports say the teen was shot in the head for refusing the sexual advances of some men in her community. But some residents say that's not the case. We get more in this TVJ News report.
The kind of tragedy the Prime Minister thought needed his intervention, and the Zimbabwe community welcomed his presence. The Prime Minister spent some time speaking to the mother inside her house. she did not want to appear on camera at all. But while the Prime Minister, the PNP candidate for the area, Mark Golding, and the councillor spoke with the mother inside the house, community members were outside fuming.
We're upset with you, lady. You need to fix this. You need to talk to us and let us know what is going on. You know what is going on. Let us know what is going on.
They're upset about the story that's surfacing in the media that the teens were shot by men from the community who were refused sexual favors. Rashida Edmond went further in the effort to prove that men from the community were not to be blamed.
I live alone. I live alone. Me know me look good, so obviously, I live alone. Why them never kick off my door yet? Why them never kick off my door yet? So I don't understand what is going on right now. Because as far as I'm concerned, the observer said that the door is kicked off. If you turn the camera over there, there's no door that is kicked off. The door is open from outside, so it cannot be kicked off. The window was not broken.
Her claim was backed up by a man from the community who believes the real story is yet to be told.
No rape for them things that used to go on back then. Them things are stopped in this community. You hear that we not deal with rape. I love and unity and oneness we say.
While residents say they're saddened by the killing of the teen and the injury of her sister, the focus is now on protecting the reputation of the area.
Because right now, for we look at community, I get a very, very bad rep by this worldwide. So Prime Minister and police and everybody, me I beg you no please and thanks, rectify this.
Meanwhile, Prime Minister Andrew Holness said he understands the mood of the residents, but appealed for understanding.
I really would not want this to become a situation where the community is on one side and the victim is on another. That does not help the situation. And I would appeal to the good conscience of people living in the area to reach out to the victims and support and protect them.
He did say the government would be getting involved.
Given what has been said and everything that has gone on with this particular crime and the mother feeling her own feeling of insecurity, the government has stepped in to make sure that the victim is protected, that the family is protected and safe.
No sooner had the Prime Minister left than a police truck arrived and removed items from the house. Earlier, they whisked away the mother for her own safety.
Over in St. Lucia, advocates for women and children are urging the government to enact a Domestic Violence and Child Protection Act. The call was made on the sidelines of a gender-based violence training exercise for social agencies. Gina Felipe of HTS News Force has the details.
Almost half of the recorded homicides in St. Lucia thus far in 2017 are domestic-related. Over the past 2 days, personnel from social agencies are receiving training to hone their skills in responding to gender-based violence. The training at the Financial Administrative Center targets the health and criminal justice systems.
We had a 2-day consultation to discuss how we actually provide services to victims of gender-based violence, and then suggestions were made on the best way to provide services. In June, we had a consultation where we reviewed the information to make sure we had the right information on how best to deal with gender-based violence victims. So today we're actually doing the actual training of social services agency workers, include the police, the hospitals, CSOs, and NGOs.
Raise Your Voice President Catherine Siles says that the lack of proper legislation is perhaps the biggest threat.
Based on the training we've done, based on the information we've provided, how has that changed the situation and how that has improved the services provided to gender-based violence victims? We do not have a proper Domestic Violence Act. We do not have a proper Child Protection Act. There are a number of pieces of legislation that needs to be enacted by the government of St. Lucia. And while they're still in review and they're still in draft, our information is that they've been reviewed as we speak and that it should be enacted shortly. We want to encourage the Attorney General and the Office of the Prime Minister to do so as quickly as possible, so we can, as in the public, the police, have a legal basis when it comes to dealing with victims of gender-based violence.
Silly says gender-based violence is harmful to both the state and the family structure. Hence, the focus on providing help to survivors, victims, and offenders.
Coming up in Caribbean Newsline, the Antigua and Barbuda Parliament moves to provide more protection for hotel workers. Stay with us, there's more news after the break.
Join the Caribbean Broadcasting Union and its regional and international partners at the CBU Annual General Assembly, August 21st through 24th at the British Colonial Hilton Hotel in Nassau, the Bahamas, under the theme Digital Developments in Caribbean Media. Prime Minister of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, Dr. the Honorable Hubert Alexander Minnis, will welcome delegates during the opening ceremony. Guyana's Minister of Public Telecommunications, the Honorable Kathy Hughes, will offer a keynote address on digital developments in the region. See the launch of the UNESCO-sponsored Manual of Social Media Guidelines for Caribbean Journalists, with guest speaker Jamaica's Director of Public Prosecutions, Paula Llewellyn. And hear from international media players about the new developments in digital television standards in Europe, the US, and Japan. And this year's Caribbean Broadcasting Awards Gala at the Atlantis Resort Paradise Island is not to be missed. Call 246-430-1007 to book your space in the 3-day conference and exhibition. Don't miss the CBU 48th Assembly at the British Colonial Hilton Hotel in Nassau from August 21st through 24th. Discounts on flights to the Assembly on the official airline, Caribbean Airlines.
It's time to explore, to feel, to love. St. Kitts, everything you've ever dreamed of, and more than you could have ever imagined. It's time to follow your heart. St. Kitts.
The upper house of the Parliament in Antigua and Barbuda has passed amendments to the Investment Authority Bill, making it mandatory for large hotels to give notice of their intention to close. Following intense debate in the House on Wednesday, the legislation was passed late in the evening. The bill was taken to Parliament following the surprise decision by Sandals Resorts International to close its resort in Antigua for 3 months to carry out maintenance. The amended legislation seeks to bolster protection provided to local workers in the hotel sector. We get more in this report from Jamie Roger of ABS Television.
The government insists all key stakeholders, including employees and managers of the hotels and trade unions, should have at least 2 months' notice of hotel closures in the future. Hotels with at least 3% of the country's room stock are required under the new amendment to give at least 60 days' notice of their intention to close temporarily in certain circumstances. Notice is not required if the hotel closure is because of acts of God, natural or man-made disasters, or low occupancy. Once the notice is given, hotels must then meet with stakeholders to discuss the potential consequences of the closure. If they fail to follow these procedures, they then run the risk of losing concessions granted to them by the government. Leader of Government Business, Senator Lennox Weston, says the bill simply codifies good business practices.
We're codifying in law to make sure all actors know that in the hotel industry, if you have roughly about 100 rooms or more, and you intend to close for 2 or more months, you should notify all parties. You couldn't find something as non-contentious as that. I mean, it's really good business practice. And so I don't think any debate will be about not approving this. I think all of us can easily support it.
However, leader of the opposition in the Senate, Senator Howard Lovell, led the charge of trying to poke holes in the proposed legislation.
This Investment Authority Amendment Bill is really designed to do nothing more than to use state power as a tool of intimidation. As a tool of intimidation. It is bad for the economy of Antigua and Barbuda. It will kill further investment, not only local investors, but foreign investors. Anybody who is thinking of investing in Antigua and who has options, Antigua will be the last place they will think of.
The amendment is expected to go into effect on January 2, 2018.
The Organization of Eastern Caribbean States, the OECS, says it stands ready to assist the British Virgin Islands with recovery efforts following massive flooding this week. On Tuesday, a tropical wave dumped heavy rains on the chain of islands, flooding homes, businesses and churches and washing away vehicles. Director General of the OECS, Dr. Didicus Jules, said the thoughts and prayers of the commissioners of the OECS are with the people of the BVI. He commended the BVI's Department of Disaster Management for their work in keeping citizens safe during the period of the bad weather. Dr. Jules added that the event is another reminder of the vulnerability of small island states to new and changing weather systems and the need to do more in collaboration with development partners to fortify the region's disaster management responses. Meanwhile, the BVI Tourist Board says the industry remains open for business despite the damage sustained by several properties across the British Overseas Territory. The island of Tortola was hardest hit. Government offices were scheduled to reopen on Thursday. Coming up in Newsline Sport, a disappointing day for the Caribbean as the IAAF World Championships. Stay with us. There's more news, or at least there's sport, right after this break.
It's time to explore, to feel, to love. St. Kitts, everything you've ever dreamed of, and more than you could have ever imagined. It's time to follow your heart. St. Kitts.
Welcome to SwiftPack, your online shopping and shipping solution. Receive the best rates, expert cargo management, and exceptional customer service. SwiftPack provides secure handling of your smallest packages to your largest cargo with speed and reliability. We invite you to use our U.S. mailbox service, online shopping, ship air and ocean cargo from the supplier to your door. We handle it all for you. Get started now. Sign up for a free regular account or premium account, or give us a call on 440-6100. SwiftPack. You shop, we ship, you save.
Caribbean athletes did not have a good day at the IAAF World Championships on Wednesday. Olympic champion Shanae Miller-Webo of the Bahamas suffered a dramatic defeat in the women's 400 meters final, and all but one of the region's men failed to make it to the final of the 200 meters. Miller-Webo, the heavy favorite going into the race, dominated the early phase of the race. Running out of lane 7, she stormed down the backstretch, ran a superb curve before coming onto the stretch 5 meters in front. She seemed to have the race wrapped up when she suddenly pulled up and stumbled before dragging herself across the line, finishing 4th in 50.49 seconds. Her demise was to American Phyllis Francis's advantage as she took victory in a personal best of 49.92 seconds ahead of Bahrain's Salwa Eid Nasser in 50.06 seconds. American Allyson Felix was 3rd in 50.08 seconds. The Jamaican trio of Sharika Jackson, Stephanie Ann McPherson and Noveline Williams-Mills were 5th, 6th and 8th. Meanwhile, for the first time in 6 World Championships, Jamaica will be without a men's 200-meter finalist after their main hope, Johan Blake, crashed out at the semi-final stage. He finished 3rd in semi-final 2 in 20.54, while fellow Jamaican Rashid Dwyer clocked 20.69, finishing last in the first semi-final. A disappointed Blake said he had a problem with his leg.
If I didn't feel my foot pulsing, I could have come through and take the second or first, but nevertheless, I'm all right.
Blake said he still believes he has it in him to win more medals for Jamaica.
I believe in myself. You know, I know I'm great shape to do what I can do. So I'll just keep on pushing. I'm still young and I'll be fighting hard and I'm here again. So I just want to keep it like that.
Well, the region's hopes are now resting with Trinidad and Tobago's Jareem Richards, who looked to be in very good shape in winning the second 200-meter semi in 20.14 seconds. He said he's confident going into the final Thursday night. Richards said he entered the championships with everything to gain and nothing to lose, so he has no pressure on him, and he will go out there and execute the way he should. Trinidadian Kyle Grew and Guyana's Winston George both also missed out on the final, and Jamaica narrowly missed medals in the men's 400 hurdles and women's shot put. Kimar Moat fought gallantly to finish fourth in the hurdles in 48.99 seconds, and Daniel Thompson Dodd could only muster fourth in the shot put with 19.94 meters. But she was still happy with the end result because she said she went out to have fun and finish in the top 8, and that's what she did. Defending champions Jamaica Tallawahs defeated Trinbago Knight Riders by 4 wickets in the 7th match of the tournament on Wednesday night. The victory for Tallawahs at Queen's Park Oval brought an end to the Knight Riders' winning streak after the Knight Riders had been sent in to bat. A sensational opening half of the innings saw them race to 109 for 2 after just 9.5 overs. But a brilliant bowling recovery from the Tallawahs instigated a dramatic batting collapse for the Knight Riders, who scored just 38 from the next 10 overs and were bowled out with 1 ball to spare. Tallawahs then managed a tight run chase, edging to the target with 4 balls left to notch their second win in 4 days, following their opening loss to Barbados Tridents in Florida last weekend. Tallawahs were guided by Sri Lankan star and captain Kumar Sangakkara, who top scored with 47, while opening partner Lyndall Simmons struck 38. While the left-handed Sangakkara was measured in his 41-ball knock, which included 7 fours, Simmons played with abandon, carving out 4 fours and 3 sixes of just 18 balls. Champion off-spinner Sunil Narayan grabbed 2 for 21, while seamer Kevon Cooper took 2 for 25. New Zealander Colin Munro had earlier top scored with 41. The Heroes CPL continues Thursday night with Barbados Tridents facing host St. Lucia Stars at 8 p.m. in Grosile. South Africa captain Faf du Plessis says he has received positive feedback about Otis Gibson as speculation over the Barbadian becoming the next Proteas coach continues. Media reports in recent weeks have tipped Gibson, currently the England bowling coach, to replace Russell Domingo in the position, and du Plessis says he has heard nothing but good reports from the England players about the 48-year-old Gibson. He said while Domingo is doing a good job at the moment, it doesn't hurt to look at other options. Du Plessis said, and I quote, "If there is someone who can challenge the team more, by all means go and look who's out there." End of quote. Domingo has led South Africa for nearly 4 years, but his contract ended following the recent 4-test series against England, which the Proteas lost 3-1. And while the South African has indicated his interest in continuing in the role, it has been widely reported that Cricket South Africa has already identified Gibson. Du Plessis says he has already discussed the matter with Cricket South Africa, but it will be up to them to make the final decision. Gibson led West Indies for 4 years before he was abruptly fired by Cricket West Indies on the eve of a test and one-day series against touring Bangladesh in 2014. During his tenure, the Windies nabbed their first ever T20 World Cup title in 2012 before reaching as far as semi-finals in the 2014 edition. Gibson, who served as England's fast bowling coach prior to taking up the position with West Indies, rejoined the setup in 2015. Still in cricket, but turning to the women's version of the game, Guyana lifted the Cricket West Indies Regional Female Under-19 Tournament title, defeating Trinidad and Tobago in the finals. Guyana has gone into the finals with 10 points after suffering no losses. We get more from Calvin Chapman of HGP Sports.
Which was played on Sunday, 6th August at the National Cricket Centre, saw Guyana facing Trinidad and Tobago for the championship honour. Guyana won the toss and decided to field restricted Trinidad and Tobago to 94 for 9 of the allotted 20 overs. Guyana in reply scored 86 for 3 in 17.2 overs, winning the tournament by 7 wickets on the Duckworth-Lewis system. Mandy Mangru claimed the Player of the Match award with a top score of 34 runs off 36 balls. Shanetta Grimmond contributed 11 runs off 21 balls, and captain Shabika Gajnabi 20 off 36 balls. The win against Trinidad and Tobago gave the Guyana female under-19 their first regional championship title.
The Caribbean Netball Championships have been postponed indefinitely, and the decision was taken to put off the tournament, which was scheduled for St. Lucia for August 17 to 27, when Jamaica withdrew and Barbados and Grenada followed suit. Jamaica's Sunshine Girls were the overwhelming favorites to retain their title, but as previously reported, they decided against competing as they found themselves in a no-win situation because even if they won every game they played in the tournament, they could have lost 5 ratings points in the world rankings. The postponement of the championships also affects TNT's chances of improving their rankings, especially against Jamaica and Barbados, which are currently ranked ahead of them. And that's the sport. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
This month, Caribbean Passport gets you up close and personal with the region. Barbados on Carifesta 13, Trinidad and Tobago on State of Getaway, Antigua and Barbuda's beautiful beaches, and of course a bit from Jamaica and more.
Grow your business or promote your event through the services offered by the Caribbean Media Corporation and CaribVision. Our distribution provides a platform on cable, terrestrial television, and websites. We cover carnivals and events from across the region. We can bring your event live and alive to the world. For music makers, program producers, businesses, we can expand your reach to in excess of 2 million households daily. Our other services include news updates to enhance your media products, studio space for program and development. We can facilitate the launch of new products and services and training. Contact us and we will help you unleash your creative ability, develop products and services, and provide the medium to watch them grow. Contact Loretta Skeet at cmccaribbean.com or call her 1-246-467-1044 or 1-246-253-3889. Call and book your carnival or event today. Again, the major developments of this day: the United States government imposes sanctions on 8 Venezuelan officials to punish them for helping President Nicolas Maduro create a controversial and powerful constituent assembly. And in sport, Bahamian Olympic champion Shawnee Miller-Webo suffers a dramatic defeat in the women's 400 meters final, and Trinidad and Tobago's Jareem Richards is the only Caribbean man to make it to the final of the 200 meters. That's Caribbean Newsline. Join us again tomorrow. Do have yourselves a good night.